Max and we're going for a drive. So I've got the 23 manual Supra while Jacob's in Texas with Honda for F1, driving the new Type R. So I want to find out today all the changes with this new manual, if it's the best manual or if it's like not the coolest BMW manual. Then I also want to see if I would take this over any of these other rear wheel drive manual two-door cars that we've driven in the last year or so. So I'm going to start it off with a launch with no launch control, sport traction. 382 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque from a 3-liter turbo inline 6. Same power as last year, but this is the first year with the manual. And you can't get the manual in the lower engine, only in the 3-liter. And then manual will do the 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, where the automatic 8-speed will do it in 3.9 seconds. And if you were to do a launch with traction all the way off, it would do more of a burnout. This thing does a good job of kind of like getting the power down with a little bit of And then this model, as you can probably tell by the interior of Cognac, the red Supra badge is the A91 edition, which is a special edition for this year. I think it's 50 in Canada, 500 in the USA. There's a little plaque on the door. It's something like that. It comes in this like purplish, grayish color or matte white. I would still prefer a yellow Supra because, you know, or a red Supra, that was great. The matte Supra was all right. Not a fan of this color, but there are things to like about it, like when it does pop in the sun. And A91 comes from the body chassis code, A91. Pretty cool fact. And then you also get an Alcantara shift knob. So let's talk about this manual shifter. Is it going to be the rubbery one from the M3? Is it going to be the good one from the M2 CS? It's actually based off a European Z4 20i, I think, and then changed up a whole bunch and tuned by Toyota. And this actually feels like one of the notchiest, most perfect manual transmissions ever. Like, I think this is better than an M2 CS shifter. Everything about it just feels so nice. And we have auto rev matching. All right, I guess I owe you guys a full traction off launch. It's nice, still nice with the all-the-way traction off. So, the auto rev matching, it is IMT, just like all Toyota auto rev matching stuff. And if you think back to the M2 CS, the only way to turn off auto rev matching in that was to go to full traction control all the way off. And in full traction control all the way off right now, I still have rev matching in the Toyota. So to turn that off, you need to customize your sport mode button. And if you go to your vehicle settings, there's an option for that. And I have programmed that to my hotkey 2 so that I can click that and click the gear shift assist and heel toe downshift myself. So within 2 buttons, you can get to that feature, unlike a Civic Type R, which would make you dig through the infotainment for that. So big shout out Toyota for letting you have auto rev match off and on with traction all the way on or off. And then as for gearing, I mean, it's just like, you get so much power in third, you could probably hit like, I'm gonna guess like 150 kilometers an hour. There's a lot of power in like all the gears you want. Everything just feels tuned up perfectly. I absolutely love this, and there's no bad clunkiness from first to second like that Nissan Z, which I really like, still do really like, but this is like the most perfect BMW manual, I think, even though it's Toyota. Maybe it's only perfect because it's Toyota engineered BMW manual transmission. And other manual transmission stuff, we have our cup holders right behind where we'll be shifting. You kind of have to sit high to make sure your arm doesn't like dip into that. And if you sit too high, your head's gonna kind of like hit the roof if you got a bucket on. So you almost need to have like your arm up a little bit sometimes. And if there's a cup there, you really need to have your arm up. But a cup small cup will fit just fine there. So that's really good. And right now they got hockey cards at Tim Hortons, and I did a hockey card unboxing video from the Tim Hortons box. And we don't have Jacob here next to me to tell me not to tell people to go to my personal YouTube channel to see me play video games, old card games, and open cards. So shout out myself. All right, here's my stack of car racing video games. Let me know which one you want me to stream next on YouTube, Yuri Tereshin. All right, so now the cliche corner send time. I'm going to put it into sport traction, not traction all the way on and not traction all the way off. And this really reels you in. Like if you floor it on a turn, you don't spin out. It really holds you back. So let's rip through here. See, I'm floored there, and it like something you shouldn't do with traction all the way off at all. And it bogs you down super hard, but not in a bad way. Like it just keeps you going. It stops you from crashing. They retuned the traction control. They said to stop, snap off, oversteer. And I feel like they really dialed it back, where if it was a BMW with one traction off, you'd be able to slide a lot more. But with traction all the way off, this thing is like smoke making donut machine. So I went to my secret test lot, did a few donuts with traction on sport. And you can see that it kind of stopped me the whole way and then kind of let me do stuff. It wasn't good for donuts at all. And then with traction all the way off, just amazing, easy, super good donuts. I don't know if they were like more controllable than the M2CS, because that was the most perfect car of all time, but definitely up there with it. And then apparently the braking system has been improved and the suspension has been improved as well. I can't really feel the difference. I don't know what they did, but this car just feels amazing. It always felt amazing, the last one, and now with this manual transmission, it's like absolutely perfect. A couple other quick little things. Our command center has been moved to the right. We've got the old BMW infotainment, which is the best. We got Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto. Woo, woo, woo. I don't really care. We could set up all our stuff to the hard buttons right here, which is great because the new M2, which I think should be disqualified from all the cool stuff, has like the new BMW infotainment, which absolutely sucks. No hard buttons, so that's going to be a total L. Total L, total L. We've got the good super gauge cluster, so it's not really customizable. It's just set up perfect from the factory. We've got the digital speed on the left and the perfect tach with the nice shift lights. It also has a head-up display, but I turned that off. I don't like head-up displays in Supras at all. And then you may have heard that pumped-in audio, so let's I don't hate it. Can't turn it off. It's not the worst, and I think when you have a helmet on, you'll be able to hear better and like know when to shift better by ear. So I'm gonna give that a pass. That is okay. But let's listen to it from the outside. I feel like you get less backfires and stuff while you're driving compared to the automatic one, but you still get a bit of that, and you can rev it all the way out to red line. So if I'm driving by and I see some kids and they're like, is that a Supra? I can be like, yes, it is a Supra. It's also a BMW, but it's like, it's so sick. It's so sick. Okay, and then another weird thing they added, a hairpin mode, so that when you're going up a 5% grade and turning real hard, it'll let both wheels spin freely. Like, we don't have anything like that at all in Canada, so I don't think it really matters. A couple more things. Visors do not move, so that does not pass the visor test at all. We've got a wireless charger with a little cover on it, which is good because it keeps your phone from flying off, and if you are having trouble not grabbing your phone while driving, this makes it very difficult to grab, which is good to keep you focused on the road. Hard buttons for your climate, which is amazing. Got carbon fiber in the interior. Jacob loves that. I don't really care. Cognac stuff is cool. Trunk room, there is a good amount of trunk room. Not like amazing, but like a good amount because it's a hatch. And then things that I like is that we can use can't program Apple CarPlay to these hard buttons on this old infotainment, fine. But what we can do is we click menu, scroll all the way left, and then click once. So that's like 3 movements to get to CarPlay. And while we're on our navigation, if we're like in our Sirius XM mode, we can then click map and it'll go right to your CarPlay navigation at all times. So there's a good amount of usability if you're trying to daily drive this. Only a reverse camera, but we got like the full sensors around for parking, which is good. And it's got a bunch of safety stuff like lane departure assist and front collision warning. And then back to the looks, I mean, we kind of mentioned that's got red badges, says Supra on the brake calipers, A91 edition stuff. Still good looking Supra. I'm still super excited to see them on the road. Still haven't seen a Nissan Z on the road, so I don't know if I'd be more excited to see one of those, but I still, like, this is one of the most exciting cars when it's out there. Oh, forgot, we have new 19-inch forged wheels. I think they're kind of cool. Not as cool as the first year wheels or the first 2-year wheels. Those were the best Supra wheels. And what would be the Continental recommended tire? That would be the Extreme Contact Sport. Winter's coming, so make sure you get some winter tires for your cars. Even if it's a Supra, you can drive rear-wheel drive manual cars in winter. It's fine. There's no issues. Get some Viking Contact 7s. And I guess I'll do the other sponsor plugs too. If you want some free SiriusXM, hit up SiriusXM.ca.com/the straight pipes. It's especially good in one of these old cars with time shift, so you can rewind with hard buttons. And by old cars, I mean old car infotainments. And if you want a Supra, tsp.truecar.com to find one, because if you haven't bought a manual Supra yet, haven't ordered one, it might be hard to try to get one now, especially an A91 edition, since I assume they're all spoken for since they're limited run. So overall, the Supra I think is a total Supra now that has a manual transmission. It's perfect. It's actually my favorite Toyota that Toyota makes right now. I think even more fun than the LC500 or the RCF. So knocked it out of the park once the manual's here, even though when you roll down both windows, you still get buffeting. So with all that out of the way, I think it's time I get to the price, and then I'm gonna talk about the price power of all of the other rear-wheel drive manual two-door cars, and we're gonna come up with our decision. This one starts at $68,640 Canadian. And this one with the manual transmission A91 edition is $72,216.70. So that kind of puts it around the price of all the other ones I'm comparing it to. The most expensive one will be the M2CS at 99,000 Canadian. So this is kind of more of a competitor for an M240i, but this current gen M240i doesn't have a manual and it's only all-wheel drive. So if we compare it to the last gen M240i, that one was like $61,000, but that one had the weird steering that I didn't like. So that's why I'm including the M2CS into this. Okay, so here are the prices of the Nissan Z, the M2CS, the Mach 1, the SRT 392, the Camaro SS1 LE, and this Supra manual. So they're all kind of in the same ballpark. And the reason I'm not including Hellcat manual, Mustang 350R manual, or the ZL1 1LE manual, because those I feel are like a tier above this, even though the M2CS can kind of be there or here. And then here's all the horsepowers together at once. So I think with the Supra, even though it's like the least power on paper, like it almost feels like it'd be faster than like a lot of them, because you know, BMW with their horsepower and torque numbers, kind of like, you know, is this really the horsepower and torque numbers? So SS1 LE, don't like the looks of that Camaro, taking it off the list, but it had an amazing shifter. SRT 392, not sport car enough, a little too much muscle car, but it's still amazing, but not what I would be looking for. And then the Mach 1 Mustang, you know, that was really good, but I just am not a Mustang guy. I think I don't like the V8s in this category. So that brings us down to the 6-cylinder turbo cars. Nissan Z. I love that car. I love the way it looks. I love driving it. It had that weird first to second grind thing, but it had so much power. It was really cool. Then the M2 CS. Car of the year for the straight pipes. He's got 4 seats, tons of room in the back for an adult like me to sit in, so that was amazing. Pretty much the car that I felt at one with. Nothing felt better than that. And it had, I think, a manual handbrake too to go with it, which this Supra does not, but the Nissan Z also does. I feel like the Nissan Z was almost perfect. A little bit weirdness with the transmission, and like the looks, maybe not my favorite. Maybe if you had the Fairlady Z bumper. Supra compared to M2CS, I just feel a little bit better in the M2CS, driving it and everything. It's got 4 seats. I think it looks a little bit cooler, even though the Supra is totally awesome. So I think I would have to go M2CS if I could pick from that whole group of 6. But if the M2CS got promoted to God tier with all the other rear-wheel drive manual cars I mentioned before, if it was this or an M240i from last gen, I think I'm picking Supra, even though the Nissan Z is super sweet, but like, Supra is just, I think, just cooler. Did I pick right? Is it M2CS, Supra, Nissan Z, Mach 1, 392, and then Camaro SS1 LE? Let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna put up a poll on our community page with all that, so please vote on which one you would like the most. Price, no option, just whichever rear-wheel drive, manual, 2-door you would pick from the bunch. Thanks for watching, everyone. And watch Jacob's video in Texas driving around the new Civic Type R with F1 drivers, which looked like a lot of fun. I also played ping pong against them. That's cool. You lost. He's got worse coordination than an F1 driver. Who would have thought?